everybody, and welcome back. It is me, Cyber Warrior. This is Security Happy Hour, and we're on CyberWarriorStudios. Today, all right, so I advertised earlier that Kiki and Haran were joining me. Rachel has been able to fight through the weather, the storms, the power, the water, all the other issues that are going on in the United States right now in the Texas area, and joining us, and I am so happy to have you all here because, you know, it's a great day. You know, we're all alive, we're all here, and I'm so close to 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. So close. I'm getting there. But at the end of the day, look, it's a lot of big things going on, and I love the fact that you guys have been able to join us with all the issues going on in the world. Haran from across the way is here, and he's a lot newer, but he wants to motivate people, so I'm excited to have him here. So without further ado, look, Kiki, let's start with you because you're kind of like going to go around. I'm going to go around. I hate trying to like organize what way my Zoom is, but you're to my left. So Kiki, let's start off with you. How are you doing? How'd you like, what's your background and what are you like doing now and trying to get into?
Okay, so my background was a little bit of everything, mainly restaurant management. I used to run several Taco Bells at one point in my life. So that was very exciting. And so I am currently a third-year InfoSec student with Purdue University Global. Currently the founder of TechSecChicks.com, which is a women's group that aims to support, provide resources for other women in tech that are just getting in, or maybe veterans, just to have a safe space for women to be able to be themselves and be there for each other. And actually, shameless plug, we are doing a a donation thing for families in Texas. We have raised almost $600 in one day. And so I would definitely like to have people visit the site or visit the Twitter channel at TechSecChicks, or my actual page as well. It's posted on there, which is at key_twice with a Y. But I definitely want to do something to give back to the people in Texas that have been through the ringer for the last week or so. So we are sponsoring that. Coming up, I actually just passed Security Plus like about 3 weeks ago. Thank you. I have just bagged my first InfoSec internship with a major company. I cannot mention who that is, but I'm very excited because this is the hands-on that I feel like I need to be able to take it to the next level. So that is where I am as of right now.
Yeah, definitely. And congratulations on that Sec Plus. So look, check it out, guys. I do have TechSecChicks in the description down below for Twitter and everything else. That is a great cause, and what she's doing for Texas. If you're in the United States, if you're not in the United States, look, I want to help people globally. So if anybody else had something, you know, that came on, I would gladly support it. For now, we are struggling here in Texas and a lot of the Midwest. So if you can support, please do it. I've got a few friends that could use the help as well. So,
oh yeah, please reach out to me. Let me know, like shoot me a message after we're done or tomorrow or something like that.
Definitely.
I can get in touch with some people. It's definite. I definitely want to help as much as I can. I know what that feels like to be in a situation where you just really could use the help. So
definitely, Kiki, definitely. And like I said, it's a pleasure to have you on here. I didn't realize that you just passed your Sec Plus like 3 weeks ago. Congratulations on that. And you've been doing so many things with Ty and just everybody else. It's been crazy. Like, I lost track of who's passed what certifications and who's doing what. But the fact that you did that is an amazing feeling.
Fast. Yeah, I actually tomorrow and Sunday I am attending his SOC analyst prep course. for the next 2 days. I have been super busy. Ty keeps me in the mix and just like, he's always throwing things my way. You know how Ty is. So I have been going and going and going. But it's been a good thing, a good kind of tired behind everything because I'm learning so much in such a short period of time.
Have you sat in on any of my buffer overflow classes that I did with him?
I actually was, I'm in the attack and defend course that he has going now, and you were presenting, so I think like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Yep.
You missed the one where he hit me up when I was already like probably 5 beers deep. I was already like on my way out, and he's like, "Hey, can you do a buffer overflow real quick?" And I was like, "Sure, I got nothing prepared, but I'll help out."
Right.
And
absolutely.
My verbiage and my curse words came out like crazy on something that it probably shouldn't have. But saying that, look, let's move on. Hey, Haran, you're next on my list, buddy. I see, like I said, you sent me a message saying you want to motivate people. Whether or not you're in cyber, you got to be. I mean, you found me, so you got to be doing cybersecurity, but you're also trying to motivate people. Let us know, man, where are you at now, like how you got here and what you're trying to do in the future.
Okay, hi everyone. So I think this is for you at night, and for me this is a morning because I'm from Sri Lanka. So Sri Lanka is a small island you can find near to the South Asian India. So I supposed to come to the cybersecurity world because I started to work as a data entry officer for one of the NGO which is based on the Switzerland and Norway around 2008, 2009. So from there only I heard about the hacking and cybersecurity, data privacy, those kind of things. Because in our country, the cybersecurity is not a major thing because it is start to rise after the 2016, the first WannaCry ransomware attack. After that only everyone start to think about cybersecurity. So I did my CEH on 2009 version 6, and I started my career as a data entry officer. After the ransomware attacks and some few incidents in our country, they in my organization they think to start cybersecurity operations. So I'm the first SOC analyst, and we are the first company who started the SOC operation in Sri Lanka. So I'm working for the one of the ISP company which is leading in Sri Lanka. So we started with the IT Security Operations Center. And I did some certification after that, like a CHFI, ECSA, LPT, CISA, something like that. So most of the course I entered for the EC Council because that is a course only we can afford based on the money value and the training which is available only for the EC Council, or you can sit for the CompTIA certifications. So I did several certification in the EC Council and CompTIA as well. So currently what I'm doing it after the pandemic, I realized most of the digitally adopt environment shops are mostly affected with the cyber the crime like ransomware, and some are trying to steal some information. And from that I start to do the workshop to educate the people who can adopt cybersecurity as their job, or maybe like a user awareness classes, workshops. So almost 1 year I did 3 to 4 workshops. So since due to the materialize and the course which is available to us, I'm only trying to do some CompTIA related because that is a very cheapest one, which is our country people can afford, like it's a $200 to $300 for the examination. So I found the people who are really interested in the cybersecurity and who are the people passionate in the cybersecurity, and guide them to take some cybersecurity classes and try to help them to implement secure network on their organization. So currently, yeah, that's my job role here.
So you're doing a lot. You're doing a lot, and you're helping people around you and motivating them and trying to get them training and all this other stuff. And it's crazy because as much as, and I was talking to Kiki about this earlier, you know, as much as small as we are, we are still a very large group, and I'm talking globally, right? We don't talk U.S. At least I don't, because within this realm, I've met so many people in the UK, Sri Lanka, Australia that it doesn't matter. So for me, seeing what you're doing and understanding what you're doing is huge. And I really do love the fact that you're trying to motivate people and trying to get training and do more for yourself and others and everything else you got going on. Ransomware, when ransomware hits, there's not a whole lot you can do but pray, right? Or, you know, hope, or whatever your belief system is. It is what it is. But, you know, you just hope they don't get away with too much before you stop them. But, you know, I'm very, very happy to have you here. And when it comes to training, it's very hard. Take it for somebody that's gone through a few different trainings in his time. CompTIA is one thing. OSCP, OSWE, well, OSCP renamed their course. It's not PWK anymore. I don't know what it is. I got to look it back up. But all these different trainings that are out there, they're all worth it. I don't care what anybody says. Any training you can get is worth it if you pay attention, if you apply yourself. Security Plus is a great baseline. Huge, huge, huge. Awesome baseline. A plus, if you want to get into hardware, and again, one thing many people don't know about me and what I'm trying to do with my channel, it's all about IT and cybersecurity. So A plus is still huge. Network plus is still huge, because even if you don't want to get into security, those are big parts. But if you do want to get into cybersecurity, if you don't know operating systems or networks or how computers talk or anything like that, it makes it very difficult to learn your job. I'm not saying it's impossible, but it makes it difficult. So any training you can get along the way, whether it's an MCSE, an MCSA, a Cisco certification, a Juniper, Palo, Network Plus, A Plus, any training you can get, by God, you better fucking do it. You better do it, especially if it's free. If a company offers you to go for a CCNA, you better do it. Jump on it and go for it, because it'll do nothing but help you in the future. I learned more from a CCNA course than I thought I would ever learn, and it was huge. So understand, that ability to understand how networks talk is amazing. Haran, I'm so happy you're here and what you're trying to do, where you're at, and with the people that you know. And we will get back to what you're doing and everything else here in a minute. Moving on, Rachel, please let us know. As a Marine veteran, I don't know what you did in the Marines. I never really asked what you did in the Marines, but as a vet, you know, my utmost respect. I'm a veteran myself. I have nothing but pride for those that have served, even given the situations of the past. So what got you into cyber, and what are you doing now? And if you know, what are you trying to do in the future? I know some things that other people may not know. I know some things. But whatever you're willing to tell, go ahead and let them know.
Well, thank you for having me, first of all. But as far as the military, I guess my background, what got me started was growing up in South Texas, where basically all people were doing was either having babies or like getting fast food jobs. And so when I'm graduating high school, I really didn't know what I was doing. I just knew I wanted to get the hell out of town. And so I worked in the mall and saw a recruiter and told him, you know, talk to me about the Marine Corps. And so he did. And I'm like, sure, why not? So I did it, figured I'd join the military. I'd also join the Marine Corps because I knew that, and no offense to any other service, obviously, but I knew for the rest of my life that I would have to say which branch of service that I joined. And everyone always says, oh, were you in the Air Force? And that's the first thing, you know, that they want to say. So it's like, no, I was in the Marine Corps. And then everybody's like, oh, you know, they kind of take a back seat for a minute. But it's what I didn't want going into it, right? I was like, yeah, well, I want to go for the challenge because that's my nature. I was born to take on the challenges, and I did. So fast forward my 4 years in, realized that I made less money than I would working at McDonald's, being in the military. Then I got married, first tour in, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna get out, I'm gonna have a family, and I'm gonna go to school, and I'm gonna go a different route. So that's kind of what started my journey into getting into cybersecurity. So when I got out, I tried to decide what's going to be my plan. And I knew I always wanted to be in computers. And so I went for a CIS degree. Military paid for it, right? So it was kind of, if I didn't do it, then I'd really be a fool to not take advantage of what the military was offering me and to complete what I set out to do, right? So got into cybersecurity. Honestly, it was one of my teachers at one of the schools. He actually brought me, he got me my resume in hand to the hiring manager of the SOC at Lockheed Martin. So first gig out the gate was a SOC analyst at Lockheed Martin, probably back in 2008. So yeah, that was, I'm dating myself here a bit, but yes. So did that a couple of, for a few years. And that's kind of what started my journey, honestly. I was there for 9.5 years. I was at Lockheed, worked with LM Cert, the, no name out there. They're kind of, they're kind of a big deal, so they think. But there was a bunch of smart people there that I learned from, great people, and a lot of people have moved on that I worked there with to other companies now, and they're just spreading the knowledge, which again, like you said, the community is huge. So when I first joined, it didn't seem to be that large, but now, I mean, it's just being on LinkedIn and networking and all this stuff. I mean, it's really shown me how vast, how large the community really is. But like you said, they're in small pockets here and there. You just don't really see the whole picture up front. So working at LM Cert for 9.5 years, then left there, went to a fintech company, and then another private company. My journey has given me depth and breadth of cybersecurity. I mean, I've done SOC work, I've done forensics, incident response, I've done GRC, blue team. It's kind of all over the place. So much all over the place that my last gig in infrastructure, I basically now am kind of on a fence between, do I go infrastructure? Do I go security architecture? Do I go, which route? So like you said, IT is, I mean, security is in every aspect of IT. So it's really hard to just say, hey, I'm cybersecurity, because you've got to include all these other departments, right, of IT specifically. So where I'm at today, basically just trying to brush up on my certifications as well. Just recently got my CISSP and a CCSP recently. And surprisingly, the CCSP, because I mean, when I looked at my email, it was like, hey, by the way, this expires in April, so you might want to get to it. And I was like, oh crap, I forgot last April I bought this freaking course. And so immediately after that CISSP, I had to study and cram for this other one. And luckily they were very close. The material was very similar, similar to a degree, but I feel like the CCSP is more of a networking certification, someone who's more involved with building the architecture. So anyway, where I'm at today is basically looking for a new role for myself, something probably senior manager level, maybe director level at this point. Got about 12 and a half years in the industry. Just trying to find my niche and where I want to go. I know the 24/7 doesn't feel like where I want to be today, but it's definitely a really good start for anybody just starting out and getting into the industry. It teaches you so much. So where I want to be in the future, Derek and I talked about this. Potentially, probably owning my own business, doing my own cybersecurity thing. Honestly, my husband is a reverse malware engineering. Yeah, he's a reverse malware engineering cert. So he's been losing his skill set just because of the lack of, yeah.
Hold up. He has the REM? So do
He
I.
does.
I got mine last
Awesome.
year.
He did too.
Me and your husband need to talk. He might know me. I got mine when I went to CTI, Cyber Threat Intelligence Summit,
Yeah.
in last year. Me and him may need to talk because I got all my books and I haven't done shit with it since I got it.
Exactly. That's the boat that he's in right now. So he gets to do the ransomware cases, the BEC cases type stuff. He just got into the field himself about maybe 2 years ago now, maybe 2.5, 3 years ago. I can't remember. But since we both are in cybersecurity, I think our future is going to be within our own company, about 3 years down the road, maybe is what I'm looking for.
Definitely, that's amazing. So we got Kiki, who is basically running her own company. Haran, who might as well start his own company for what the hell he's doing. And you, and I got to be honest. So even though my wife's not in cybersecurity, she's the one that designed my hoodie and is doing everything else. Which on my website, not a shameless plug, it's my show. I can do it. On my website, I don't have merchandise anymore. I got to be honest. Davin Jackson just ordered one prior to me pulling my site down for merchandise. But that's not to say it's not coming back. It will be coming back once I buy a house. But Rachel, what she didn't tell you, and what I'm going to tell you, I have a lot of people coming in, and I am looking for more. See, this channel right here, I want to be all of cybersecurity. So if you're blue team, if you're red team, if you're GRC, if you want to do news, if you want to do IT, I don't care. I want you here. And that's going to stem from, I want Rachel to start her own business. I want reverse engineering malware. I want reverse engineering, period. I don't care. As long as it's open source or whatever the case may be, as long as it's legal, I don't give a damn. At the end of the day, I want cyber. And Haran doing motivation, dude. I got a dude. You gotta link up with Haran. BT Tactics, I think, is his Twitter handle. I tagged him in my most recent Follow Friday, so you might want to check him out, Haran. He's picked up the slack where I've left off. One thing anybody should know about me is I will promote anybody and everybody if they're doing big things for the community. Rachel, Kiki, Haran, you're all doing great things. Saying that, certifications. Rachel, you talked about them. Kiki, you talked about them. Haran, you talked about them. I seen a post yesterday, maybe, by one of the people I follow immensely, Blackroomsec. I think that's her Twitter handle. Tara, who was talking to a guy at a drive-thru talking about coming to this company, or, when you get time, I'll teach you computers, this, that, and the third, because you have the mind for it. You can do a lot of things, but he's like, I'm not certified. I don't have a degree, and this, that, and the other thing. Look, I'll say this. In terms of getting a position, yes, to get past HR, you need certifications. You need a degree. But you meet the right people, and this is where Rachel comes in. You meet the right people on LinkedIn. That doesn't necessarily matter. Promote yourself. GitHub, blogs, YouTube, whatever the case may be. Promote yourself, and what you can do will far exceed what any certification or degree will ever say about you.
Yes.
I'm sure anybody here will admit that.
If you don't mind, I do have something to add to that. So I was in a position at one of my companies to bring on a threat intel analyst. And of the people that I interviewed, they had degrees, they had certifications, they had all sorts of things. Of the people that I interviewed, I mean, nobody really had what I needed. I'm looking for personality. I'm looking for motivation, what motivates them. So there's so many different things that I was looking for that each of these candidates didn't have all in one. So I'm scrolling through LinkedIn and I see somebody that I used to work with, you know, a long time ago at Lockheed Martin, and I was like, I remember working with this guy, and I remember every time I did a transaction with him, he was on the spot, Johnny on the spot. I never had to wait. I knew when I asked for something, I got it back. I knew his work ethic was like, you know, spot on. It was somebody I wouldn't mind teaching my skill set if he had what it took to learn it, right? He had no cybersecurity background. He did have IT background, but he didn't have any certifications. He didn't have a degree. He didn't have anything. I was fortunate enough that I was given the opportunity to hire someone despite these obstacles, right? Some companies really want some particular pieces in place. And I was like, okay, well, I can teach this guy. Lo and behold, after I left, I mean, this guy soared to the roof. I mean, they are so grateful that I brought him on board, but it's the motivation. You have to have your internal drive, and it's got to come through whenever you're interviewing, right? So if people don't see that, they're going to, I mean, they really didn't want to hire this guy because I knew him personally, but it was the end of the day, and his interview skills were kind of, you know, they were going downhill. He was really tired, and I was like, trust me, this guy's good. I think he's good. He's going to work. So in the end, it's who you know, it's what you know, and it's your work ethic that's really going to speak for itself.
I would agree with that as well. When I, you know, going into interviewing for this internship, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, yes, I do have the Sec Plus, but I do not have any security background. I just recently did like a little over a year of IT work, help desk, things of that nature. And so going into this, I'm like, it's going to be candidates that's like super smarter than me, know more than me. And I did the first interview and it went well. And then getting to the second interview, and it was like the head of each security department there, 7 men, 5 white, 2 non-white, one like Asian, one, you know, but nobody Black, no women. And so that was always, you know, already super intimidating for me. But I mean, I showed up and I just kind of, you know, I was myself. I showed them who I was, brought them into my world. And even though I may not have all the skills that these other people may give, like I bring something to the table. And that's what registered with them. That's what came through for them, because they were like, we just want you to know, like, you were our strongest candidate we have interviewed this year. And I was just blown away, because here I am not thinking I am who I am. And just like that kind of put me in my place. And I'm like, I belong here. Like I can do this. So it was a very good experience. And to anybody out there that's trying to definitely go along the same path, whether it's a job, whether it's an internship, whether it's whatever, like you have to have that confidence in yourself. You have to believe in yourself, because that is going to make the difference. That is going to show up more than anything that you can put on your resume. They know who you are.
Definitely. So before I get into my point, Kiki, you have a lot of representation on Twitch right now. Just to let you know, they're all saying
Okay.
hi and they're repping TechSec Chicks.
My girls are in the house.
They are. I will say this though, and Haran, this is also for you to bring to the people you work with. I don't know how it is in Sri Lanka. I don't know how jobs are. I don't know the job market. Again, I'm in the U.S., so where you're at may be a little different. But I'll say this, your confidence shows through. It'll always show through. I got a friend going through one of the hardest schools in the Army right now for cyber. And I've told her time and time again, be confident in who you are. Not only when you're doing interviews, but when you're taking tests, when you're trying to do different things in your career path, you have to be confident. And one of the things that I've always done is when I go into a test, I used to second guess myself. I'm like, oh, I don't know. Maybe this is wrong. I got to change it. I don't know. Any test, any job, anything you do, if you know it, you know it. If you don't, you don't. Don't be afraid to say, I don't know. The job I got right now, the interview I had pulled the little bits of knowledge that I buried deep inside my brain, because the technical interview was a question, and I'm not going to get into it just because if you end up working for the company I work for right now, I'm not going to give away any secrets, but it was one of those things where it was like, man, this has nothing to do with the job. But it's not about that. It's about what you know and how much you're willing to learn and how much you're willing to admit you don't know. Don't ever be afraid to say you don't know something. Say you need to look it up. Or I remember reading about it, but I don't know. I can't remember off the top of my head. And I will say this. And again, Haran, please chime in. I'm looking for you to chime in at any given point in time. In the U.S., a lot of women are afraid to apply for jobs when they don't meet the qualifications. Men, especially me, when I was looking for work, I'd apply for a job. I didn't care what the qualifications were. I'd see security engineer, got you, I'm applying. Security analyst, no, got you, I'm applying. Senior director, you know what? Screw it, I'm applying to that too. CISO, you know what? I'm going to apply to that one too. Why?
Everything.
Because I don't care. I'm going to speak who I am. I'm going to talk about who I am. And I don't give a damn. And it wasn't about whether or not I could do the job. For me, it was about, I'm going to talk about what I know. Either I'm the man for your job or I'm not. And women, because of the way in the U.S. society is, are so afraid to do things like that. They are. And I will tell any female out there, do not be afraid. Because you'll have people like Kiki interviewed with, they're like, you know what, you blew us out of the water. We got no one else for the job. You just done did it. But you got to find the right company. Yeah. And that's where it's big. Find the right company. Because yes, people are assholes. In general. Male, female, black, white, gray, green, blue, it doesn't matter. People are assholes. It's going to happen. You're going to run across them. But you will find that company that fits who you are and fits what you want to be. And if you don't apply, you'll never know. And by apply, I don't mean go onto their damn website and go through careers and find that job. Screw that. Go on LinkedIn, find the CISO, find the security director, find somebody, connect with them. I had a buddy get a job the same way, and I say this almost every episode. Talk to them. Tell them who you are. That is how I've gotten so many jobs. You explain who you are, what you do, and you just become a person to them. And then say, hey, I'm looking for work. Do you have anything open? Send me a resume. I'll see what I can do for you. And now your resume now bypassed HR. So even if you say, hey, I applied for a job, but I never heard back, he'll be like, hold on, time out. Or hell, I've talked to freaking CISOs that were females. It doesn't matter to me. If it matters to you, I'm sorry. You're missing out. But they'll be like, time out, I got you. And it'll go through. So for Rachel, for Kiki, for Haran, tell everybody in your network, apply. If you see a job description, like I said, don't look at the requirements. The requirements do not matter. The job description is what matters. Is if it's something you're interested in, apply for it. Let that job description go out the window, or the job requirements, because they don't matter. Who cares what the job requirements are? And find that company on LinkedIn, find that security director, find that CISO, whoever the hiring manager is, and go fucking follow them. Connect with them and talk to them. Explain who you are. If you got to get a free year of LinkedIn Premium or if you got to pay for a few months because you're looking for a job, guess what? If you're hurting for work, you should probably pay for that so you can send some of these in-mails that I'm sorry LinkedIn charges for these days. But you need to send them a message and relate to them on a level. Haran, man, you've been silent. I've had everybody else talking. I want to hear from you, man. What's your take? What's going on, man? How's it in Sri Lanka as far as jobs and certifications and finding work going?
Hi. Okay. Now, just I listen. What are the other people saying it? Okay. So after the pandemic, it is very tough regarding the job market, and lately cybersecurity needs increase because we have a law which is written on the 2007. That's only cyber law we had so far. So after the pandemic and several security breaches, even last month also you might be heard about the someone hacked the major DNS servers and change the google.lk and some other website to redirect to something else. So currently our government is working on the privacy law, which is similar to the GDPR. And now everyone start to focus on the, okay, what certification we can do it, and where we can find some training courses. Because as I mentioned, it's a typical South Asian. We don't have a much certification, only EC Council you can get it with the certifications, and CompTIA you can self-learn, but there's no guided course. And if you take the offensive or science, that is so far to discuss now. But even though we have some people certified OSCP, but they are not with Sri Lanka anymore, because when they are done their OSCP, they definitely get a job in abroad. So after that, they leave it. So what I'm trying to do it, try to educate the people and showcase which part they can choose for. Because since I am in the cybersecurity around 11 years, so give us a second. Sorry for that. So I know what kind of the job roles maybe they're fitting on it. So currently for the blue teaming, there's a market. So still they also trying to recruit the people. Yeah. So that's it so far in Sri Lankan situation.
Yeah, man. So one of the things I will say when you're looking at certifications like SANS, don't get me wrong, even in the US, man, SANS is pricey. I don't know if I can't say any. I don't know of many people that can afford it without a company paying for it. The OSCP, you can do a lot of training without paying for the course. There's a lot of different ways to go about doing it. The one thing I have found for any certification when it comes to the offensive side is just practice, right? So you do download VulnHub, you download whatever, and you Google how to do Nmap, or you can use DuckDuckGo. I mean, if you don't like being tracked, but you look at Nmap, you look at Metasploit, you look at reverse shells, bind shells. I've got some videos on those too. You look at all these different things, and you just learn the tools of the trade and what people actually use. So for those, Haran, that are looking for certifications, I would definitely say practicing without having to pay for it is easy. The hardest one for me, and I'll be honest, out of all my certifications, the hardest one was the reverse engineering malware. And that's because I had never done any study on assembly or reverse engineering anything. I had tried, but it was still, foreign to me. I couldn't really follow assembly. So the SANS course helped out a lot. So things like that where you just don't really pay attention, or you can't really grasp the concepts without being in front of an instructor, those help. But when it comes to things that you really want to know, if it's pen testing, red teaming, social engineering, there's so many tools out there that you can look up either videos or blogs or anything like that on. So for anybody that's looking to learn where you're at, on any of your connections that are trying to delve deeper into these topics, it's not hard. I did it for years before I got my certifications. I got a lot of my SANS certs easily solely because for years that's what I did. When I wasn't working IT, I'd go home and practice by using Backtrack Linux and Nmap and things like that, and Metasploit and all these tools to practice, on downloading virtual labs and using VMs and things of that nature. So for the people who are looking to learn, whether it's OSCP, whether it's SANS, man, just tell them to do it. Like that's the best advice I can give is just do it. There's so many free opportunities out there that it's so easy to just learn it. And then when you do a course, it just comes second nature. You've done it so long that it's second nature and you can just do it. So for where you're at and what you're trying to do and who you're trying to motivate where you're at, definitely just tell them, just do it. It's really all you can say at this point, right? Be confident in who you are and what you know, and then find your weaknesses. If you don't know ports that may be vulnerable or something like that, look it up. I mean, it's very hard in other countries for people to find this information, but it's still possible. Look it up. If you don't know the software, look it up. I mean, that's the best advice I can give. And I know it's not easy, but it's still possible. So that's really, and keep motivating people, Haran. Like legitimately, just keep motivating people.
Yeah, so I do that. So the typical, as I mentioned earlier, so cybersecurity is currently blooming in here. So if you see the job application, so if you don't have CH, then they will not think about your security professional. Even if you have a CSSP, so they will put in an advertisement like CH or CSSP, because the EC Council CH are so famous in here. So if you are not done your CH, then they will not consider you as a security professional. Okay, so what am I doing it? Even the people think that security is very hard and it is very expensive and lot of things when they are doing it. So I present myself and so it see, if I can do it, you can do it yourself, because and that is not much harder than the other things. So I personally physically present to the course of studies and do some modification. Why are they want to come to the security industry? So it doesn't matter if they want to do the certification or not, but security that in personal life also they want to adapt, because maybe in a 3 or 4 years after that everything will be digitalized. So if they don't know how to protect themselves, then I don't think they will protect their company or their child as well. So one thing I'm going to just doing mostly the user awareness and why they want to adopt security in their day-to-day life. So that is my main motivation doing the security courses.
Definitely. So I mean, we got a lot going on. I got a lot of people talking. Just happy to see everybody. Again, Kiki, you seem to be like the talk of the town right now on Twitch.
You know what? So like I got my TechSec chicks, and then I got my coworkers at the job that I'm working at now, and they have all shown up to show me love. So that is definitely dope. And I actually, before I came on the show, I was with Alyssa's Sip and Zoom crew. And so I told them, hey, I'm doing a show later. So hopefully they are checking it out, or they plan on checking it out, or, but everybody was super pumped to tune in tonight. So yeah, I'm the hot commodity, I guess. I don't know. But anything to bring them to the show, that's dope. Like,
yeah,
definitely. I like that.
Definitely, because so one of the things I haven't done and I'm trying to do more with, and actually I actually have 2 guests already for next week, which is amazing because usually I don't find out who's going to be on until the Thursday before.
Or the minute of.
Right? So finally it's starting to get to that point where here's the way I do things. I don't want to hunt you down, because I want you to want to be here. I want you to want to talk, say who you are, and get your point across. So the fact that people are finally realizing that is amazing to me, because I want you to get over that fear. And that's the thing. a lot of us can't speak in front of a big crowd, right? Some can. I can. I grew up doing it, but a lot of people can't. And for me, I don't like CFPs. I don't want to call for presenters. I don't want to have to try to be on. I don't have to try to make it and say my piece. There's no trying here. Find time in my schedule. You get on. That's all there is to it.
I mean, that's kind of, I'm one of those people that, not that I don't want to do it, you know, it was this kind of, you watch all these talks and these cons, and so it can be a little intimidating, especially when somebody that's super new to the field still, but I have to come out of that comfort zone. Like there's no way I can continue to grow or have growth if I'm stuck in this one spot and I won't get out of it. So this is like one of the first steps of me getting out of that shell and just letting people know I'm here to stay. And you know, this is who I am. I want you to know who Key Twice is. So who Tech Sec Chicks is. And yeah, definitely this is a great experience. I really enjoy this.
Yeah, definitely. And here's the thing, right? So for me, it's all about people getting people's faces out there, getting them known. Because me personally, I'm the same way, Kiki. I look at some of these talks that go on at DEF CON and Black Hat and B-Sides and everything else, and I'm like, I can't compete with that. I can't. And let's be honest, regardless of the certifications I got behind me, it doesn't matter. I still suffer from the fact that I don't know as much as a lot of other people out there. Yeah. I tell people I got schooled by a 17-year-old on reverse engineering. Schooled. Straight schooled. At 30 some years old, this dude was just like, yeah, you do this, this, and this. Did it hurt my pride? No, because I knew that, guess what? At the end of the day, a lot of people out there that know more than I do. But I'm going to learn from him. I'm going to take what he teaches me. And in this field, if you're not willing to learn from those younger than you, those that look different from you, whatever the case may be, then you're missing out. Absolutely. And I'm so grateful for the fact that I can learn from everybody. And I'm so grateful for the fact that I can talk to Rachel, talk to Kiki, talk to Haran, and be like, you know what? What can you teach me? What don't I know about cyber that you know? You know how many people are afraid of that? So afraid. So afraid to learn from somebody else.
Well, I think there's an expectation. If you've been in the field for a while, people think you know everything. And then it comes with a fear of being the one who I've been in the field for a while and I don't know that simple thing that I was supposed to know, right? So, and it follows you from beginning to, 12 and a half years into the field. It doesn't matter. There's always going to be something that you don't know. And I think just being able to have an open mind, which I think when I joined, I was very scared of saying I didn't know things. I still said it. I still asked for help because I needed to learn. And I was going to pick anybody's brain who was willing to talk and teach me anything. The thing is, whenever we get to there's a certain level that people get to and they think that they know everything and they refuse to admit when someone junior comes up with a genius idea of how to do something different, right? It's been done this way the whole time. What's wrong with it? Why fix it? And when you come in with a very innovative plan and it goes against the grain, you are looked at differently, and Kiki, I know you are going to go down a path very similar to what I went through because having confidence, having the ability to know that you can do it, the fact that you want to learn it and that you can go and you can make it happen and maybe even better than what it's been before. There's going to be its obstacles that come with that as well, right? So I'm learning later in this game that there is a fine balance that you have to play in this IT field, where I can't be as overt as I like to be, which, my own business, my rules, right? I mean, at least I can appreciate what I come up with, right? Versus me having to please somebody else or subdue myself because I'm making someone else look bad, right? So there's, to me, you just have to have an open mind and know that you're not going to know everything. There's going to be someone junior that knows more, someone senior that knows more, or they may know less. But if you're the senior one, know that, hey, I haven't been keeping up with the latest technology. I might not be the most knowledgeable in this area anymore, right? So, and I think that's a growing mindset. I want to say people are now getting to a point where technology has evolved that all that old knowledge, it doesn't even relate anymore. Now everybody's learning again. So it's going to continue to keep changing. So as you guys are starting into this industry, everybody who's been in it, we're still learning just like you because everything keeps changing.
I think most of the people that I do talk to that are, veterans in the field, that is the first thing that they kind of tell you, like, you will never stop learning. There are so many things that I would love to learn right now, but I have to learn to pace myself. Like, it's not so much as getting to the finish line as it is really learning, retaining, and being able to understand everything that I'm taking in. That's more important to me right now, as opposed to when I first started. And I, especially getting on InfoSec Twitter, it was automatically, you like, oh my God, I am so behind these people. It's so much that I don't know. So you tend to jump head first into everything. And you're like, let me study this, let me get these certs, and let me do. You have to figure out what works for you. You have to find your own path and just stick with it. Like, things will come with time, but it's very important that you stay true to who you are. Stay on a learning path that works for you. Don't take on too much, because a lot of times you get that burnout automatically. So yeah, I definitely hear that all the time from people, that you're forever learning, and I'm prepared to do that. I'm definitely in that state of mind to be that cybersecurity infosec chick.
Yeah, definitely. And that's huge, because one of the things I've said, and people can get mad at me all they want, this is one of the things that I will die on this platform, that being in cyber and IT, especially cyber, is a lot, and I equate it a lot to being a doctor, right? Things change all the time. New technologies, new ways of doing surgeries, or in our case, new ways of finding malware or creating malware or defending, or whatever the case may be. And so it's a field that you never stop learning, just like being a doctor. Now, as someone who, look, my experience of being a doctor is nil. I've never done any learning. But I do understand how technology changes, right? We've got robots now that do surgeries. We've got all these different advancements in technologies where things can't, you can't just cut someone down the chest and be like, oh, I'm going to do this. Like, there's new, minute ways to do things. And in cyber, it's the same way. There's a new malware variation. There's a new way. And yes, sometimes, as those of us who do some research have seen, they pull out the old tricks because, sometimes new AV doesn't detect it. But for the most part, you're always trying to learn something new. Always. Whether it's a blue team technique, a red team technique, a new policy, a new procedure, whatever the case may be, it's always something new that we're trying to learn. Mm-hmm. And I'll be honest, as somebody who works as a security consultant, I don't have the breadth of knowledge that a lot of other people have. Meaning, and that's not saying I'm not good or great at my job, but that's just saying that I research every aspect of cyber. I read books from every avenue of cyber. I've got books on coding. I've got books on red teaming. I've got books on blue teaming. I've got everything. And it comes from the fact that I want to know everything about everything. And there are some people that fall into the same pattern as I do, where you can't just finish a book. You see something cool that you want to know about, and you pick up another book, and you're like, all right, I'm going to read about this. Get about half the way through, and you're like, holy crap, this is new. Let me read about this one now. And you just keep going through that cycle, and you never finish. And it's not because you're not good at what you do. It's the way your mind works. You can't concentrate on one thing. You keep going over and over to different things. So for all those in the same boat, I say God bless you. It is a hard road to travel. It really is a hard road to travel when you can't focus. So saying that, constantly keep learning. If you want to be an expert in web app pen testing and that is your main goal, main mission, do it. Learn everything you can about web apps. Because the moment you start to diverge and go into network pen testing and go into AppSec and go into, who knows, you may see SIM logging and you're like, oh, wait, I want to know about logs. The moment you start going down that cycle, it never ends. If you can focus. I know I myself can't. I have no focus when it comes to one topic. I just can't do it. I've never been able to do it. And so understand that we all learn differently, but we all learn. And in this field, you have to continue to learn. I don't care what your specialty is. The moment you stop is the moment you're useless to me. The moment you're useless to any security organization is the moment you stop trying to learn. Kiki is living proof of somebody who's trying to grow and learn. Rachel is living proof of somebody who's trying to grow and learn. Haran the same way, and everybody else I've had on this show. I will continue to defend those who continue to grow their knowledge, because that's what this community is all about, is learning and growing. Don't ever stop. Saying that, I really, really, really love the way this conversation is going. So saying that I love that. I've got people that have bailed out. I got people that are, heck, agreeing with me. For those like Rachel and Kiki that are continuing to grow, and Haran and learn, what is your next goal? What do you want to know next? Like, if it's a certification, if it's a topic, whatever the case may be. And since I started with Kiki last time, let's start with Rachel this time. What is your next, growth? Like, where do you want to get to next?
Like you said, I'm in the diverging phase. I am transitioning from incident response, forensics investigations, things like that, into, I want to get deeper into GRC, data privacy protection, things like that. And that is really what I feel is going to be the next, and I say the next, I think that's going to be the primary focus. Being in the industry for as long as I have been, and experienced some different industries, government, fintech, things like that, I've noticed that when security doesn't ever really have a budget, security is overhead, security is expensive, and nobody wants to pay for security or IT or any of those. They're an evil necessity to run a business. You don't generate revenue, so therefore the business doesn't find you very, worth putting money into protecting itself, which, once they get fined and all that, then all of a sudden there's magical money that shows up. So I think that the next area that I want to be in that actually is gaining traction with corporations and industries is going to be data protection. So security is one thing, but not everybody knows where their data is. What data do I have? Where does it live? And tracking it down, right? So what regulations do I have to follow? I think that is a mandate, industry mandate, right? For them to do industry regulation standards and whatnot. So for me, that's piqued my interest, and that's something that's the path that I want to go down. That's what I see in my future.
So I like that. I like the way you think. Catch me offline. Got a place for you to look at. GRC is huge. One of the things I want to see in the future from anybody who gets into auditing, anybody who gets into compliance or anything like that, is actually impressing upon the importance. Too many times I've seen companies do check the box. And I want to talk about the company I work for now. I'm a consultant. I work with a bunch of different companies. But in the course of being a consultant in previous jobs and being a security engineer, working with MSSPs and things like that, I've seen companies that just want to check the box. And be like, oh yeah, I have this. Oh yeah, we keep logs. But they never do anything about it. They don't actually account for everything they need to do. So I'd love to see that shift. I really
Mhm.
would. Unfortunately, if you work for consulting agencies, you can try to impress the importance, but unless somebody at that company backs you, it's really hard to get there. So, if you end up working for a company prior to you starting your own business, um,
Mhm.
then I'd love to see where you go from there and if you can make that difference because I know it is very, very difficult to make that difference.
Yes.
So, yeah, definitely. GRC is important. I'd love to see
Mhm.
policies change within federal government and things like that. PCI-DSS is a joke to me. SOX is a joke. NIST, all these other things. People just check the
Yeah.
box and like, oh yeah, I have a firewall. It logs. We're good. Okay, it
Yeah.
logs. What do you do with it? Like, do you actually do anything with those logs? Um, and I know
I
there's
think that's
more
the
to it.
culture of the business. That's where, it's got to go top down. And if you work for a company that doesn't, have that top down, security mindset, then again, it's security theater. You're pretending like you're doing security, but you're really not. And I feel like they got the cardboard box up saying we do security, but they're not really doing security. I've worked for enough to know. I mean, I would hope to impact a company to where the culture top down decides, you know what, we need to protect our data the right way. And I've seen it happen at a company I was at. So it wasn't just checking the box, it was actually, it felt great to be a part of improving the maturity of the security of an organization. So I've experienced it. I know it can happen. And I know it is very few and far between companies that do that legitimately.
Yeah, definitely. It's hard to come by. I mean, it does happen. I work with companies now that are really trying to make a difference, but it's few and far between. I've been lucky that the companies I work for now as a consultant, my clients are trying to make that difference. So I hear where you're coming from. Haran, you don't fall under being in Sri Lanka. You don't necessarily fall under the same policies that we do in the U.S. I don't know of any policies in Sri Lanka. So, is there anything that governs your privacy, your data, or anything like that? And if there is, do companies care?
Okay. So far we don't have any policy which is created by Sri Lanka. So we follow the PCI DSS for the banking sector and ISO for the IT, ISO 27001. So those are the two standards currently followed by everyone. And currently we are, as in the Sri Lankan government's trying to create a new law which is similar to the GDPR, but not that much of the hardest one. So very basic things with that law, because currently we don't have any particular law which is one we're having written on the 2007. So that is a very basic law. If you go and touch your wife's computer, wife can put a case against you. So the law is that kind of the law currently we do have. So they are working on it, and currently there's some implement. So and one story I want to share, because the last time after the pandemic happened, so one of my friend website is got hacked. So when I go and look at it, the code is very creepy, and they copy and paste from directly from the internet, and they got hacked. So when I go through it and mention, okay, you should change these kind of the things, and you should put some parameters, filtering, something like that. So they said, okay, at this moment we don't have this money to do the development. So what else? So I mentioned, okay, then put the web which can product from your web application. So they said, okay, we will put the web and everything. So after 2 months, again their website got hacked. So when I go and check it out, they put the web, and I asked, did you put the web? They mentioned, yes, we put the web. So when I check the configuration, yes, they put the WAF, but they didn't turn on any policies, because they mentioned, okay, you didn't mention to turn off the rules, so we didn't. We just put the WAF. So something like that happened and got some kind of things. So my next scope will be, I would like to focus on the telco security, because mostly everyone talk about the web applications and the PCs. So since currently the 5G is a blooming area, So I would like to learn about the SS7 signaling, SS7 firewalls and signaling, HLRR, which is related to the 5G and telco security. So currently I am trying to research the materials which is belong to the telco security, telco IT security, and enhance my knowledge on that.
That's awesome. Awesome. So it's good to see that they're trying to make progress, right? So Sri Lanka as a whole, again, being that they're trying to do some things for privacy is amazing. Helping a buddy out with security is always a bonus, right? Regardless of the situation. Actually, before I go into where you're learning next, Haran, because that is the next topic. Actually, should have been the previous topic, but we got, distracted. Omegle, which is a chat roulette type service, finally made the news for predators. Just an FYI, that has been around for years and a target for predators for years. So if you have not been defending against that or watching your kids against any of these chat roulette type things or sites, please contact me or anybody else that knows security. They'll tell you how to block these sites if you don't want your kids on them. I got to go on Sunday to talk to my parents and my sisters and make sure they block all these sites for their kids. So that's just a side note, talking about security and how we can help others. Omegle, chat roulette, I can go through a few others. Block them from your kids. Really, if they're under the age of 18, there's no reason for them to be on there. Because if you're not sitting there watching what they're doing, you don't know what they're doing, there's really not a need for them to be on that site. Now, saying that, Haran, like I said, GDPR was definitely a UK thing, seeing Sri Lanka coming along and trying to do amazing things with it. It has a lot of promise. There's still some issues within GDPR itself as far as how it applies globally, but it is a step in the right direction, and I will never take that away from it. So we've covered that. What are you trying to learn next, Haran? And you're doing so many things and helping so many people. What are you yourself trying to improve upon within your own knowledge base?
Now I am currently working on to register one of company like NGO where I can provide the free training to the people who really need, because since it's a small island and out of the center part of the town, there's a very lack of the computer education and lack of knowledge on what they want to do it. So what I'm going to do it, I'm register my own company to educate the people and contribute other people who can help on certain the knowledge like A plus, the network plus, CCNA. So we have some kind of a circle. So I would like to get together to the one place, and I would like to give the knowledge to the other people who can really afford it. So currently I'm working on that project to create the company registration in Sri Lanka.
I like where we're going with that. That is amazing, and I hope to see you succeed. If you need any boosts, need anything to promote that, please let me know. Whether it's LinkedIn, Twitter, it doesn't matter. Let me know. I'll send it out there. I got you covered. I want to see you succeed in that venture. It'll be amazing. Kiki, moving on to you. We're already past 11. That's why I'm just kind of moving along here.
Yeah.
What is the next goal of yours, Kiki? And then on top of that, I know you don't necessarily do GRC right now, but being that it was a topic brought up, how do you feel about certain policies that are in place at the moment?
Okay. So with GRC, it's funny that Rachel would bring it up initially, because I actually had a conversation maybe about a week ago with Kirsten Bragger. She actually was the one that gifted me my Sec Plus exam voucher. And so, after passing, we had this conversation, and she was just like, tell me a little bit about, your background and work history and things of that nature. I started talking about the Taco Bell being, it's basically you're running your own business when you have your own store. So you have compliance things. You have to, abide by what the health department says, the fire department. You have certain rules and regulations that you have to follow, certain standards that are put in place, by that company. And she was just like, do you know you have already been doing a portion of this job? Like you have that hands-on experience already. And she was like, the fact that you're not putting this on your resume, like I'm gonna need you to put that on there because you definitely have already experienced what that looks like, especially with compliance. So I thought that was super interesting. Another thing that we talked about, it's not one of these super big things in security, but it is a major thing in security, GRC is. And so I'm definitely looking a little more into it. We had a very good conversation about it. I'm interested in the SOC analyst courses that I'm doing coming up this weekend. And again, it's just like, even when like I say, I interviewed with the company, I didn't have a definitive answer on exactly what I want to do. I'm an 80s baby, I grew up with the whole, so I grew up with the whole mentality of like, I get a job, they train you on the job, and then, you know what I mean? You see what you like, like that's what, I don't want to be put into this box and then not be able to learn a field or a section that may be the best fit for me. I need to figure out what that looks like. I don't want anybody else to just say, well, you got to pick one. And, if you don't pick this one, like I don't want to end up being that person, that chick. So I'm glad they left the door open for that, for me to be able to just get some experience in every, a few different aspects of security with this internship, because that's going to determine, really having that hands-on for me is everything. I just grew up working like that, with the hands-on more so as the school learning, and I'm doing well in school, but I still just need that hands-on. So it could be a number of things. I don't want to narrow it down to like, just that one object. And then I'm just like, okay, now I got to stick with that. I done said this on the internet, like everybody's seen it. So, but I'm still undecided. I'm like the Facebook relationship status. It's complicated.
You're the freshman college student. You're undecided and just taking gen ed classes.
More like you're at Baskin Robbins. You want to taste a few flavors before you make it.
Right, there you go.
31? How are you choosing? How are you doing this?
So, no, definitely. That was one of the big things when I came into the company I'm working with now, is I have experience as a red teamer or a pen tester, a little bit of both. I've experienced being a security engineer and working on SIM architecture and log analysis as an analyst and things like that. I've experience from the military doing different things. And so I get complacent, right? A lot of people do. They get bored, they get complacent and things like that when you're stuck into one job. In this field, if you're a red teamer and you're good at it, you got to be able to do everything, because you'll get bored. And if you don't, good on you. I'm not saying this to everybody, but you do. You get bored because you're like, man, I got to write a report, got to break into this computer. If you don't get to do the physical, then you're like, man, I really wanted to break into this building, and now I'm not allowed. Like, what the hell? So it happens, right? Especially as a blue team side, you're like, man, I got to look at these logs all day. I got to look at this SIM all day, or this EDR, or whatever the case may be. So you can become complacent. You can get bored. You can miss things. So one of the things I do love about being a consultant is I can look at all aspects of things. And where I'm at now, I can talk to our GRC personnel. I can talk to our red team personnel and our blue team and be like, hey, look, all right, so what are we doing now? What do we got going on? All right, cool. So I'm going to take this, this, and this. And our GRC, I'm not part of the GRC team, but I could talk to her and be like, hey, what do we got going on? all right, so from a blue team side of things, we should probably look at this, this, and this. But when you're with a company, you get siloed a lot of the time. When you're with an individual company. When you're with a MSSP or a consulting agency, or company rather, you can really spread your wings and be like, all right, I'm gonna look at this, this, and this. I'm gonna talk to this person from the red team, and I'm like, all right, hey, what do you got going on here? Can you teach me anything? Is there anything I can do? So you get that broad spectrum. So yes, I feel that pain. I feel the pain of, I worked as an IT risk management person for a company and got told to develop policies and procedures, and it was like, hey, now you're no longer allowed to touch it because you're technically supposed to be a manager, so we're going to pass it off to this person. And I was like, but I built this. This is my baby. And they were like, yeah, no, it's not yours no more. I'm like, oh, come on. I built it from the ground up. But it makes sense. You know, you have to be able to do different things. And so I do. I love the fact that you're open to other ideas of being able to be like, you know what, I don't know if I'm gonna like this. Let me try this instead. Let me try this. And that's what it's about. Because so many people come into cybersecurity and they're like, oh, I want to be a pen tester. And you're like, you realize the amount of writing you got to do for that. What do you mean writing? Well, let's see. You got to write a report for every pen test. What do you mean report? What do you mean? I got to write a report? What's that? So, I'm going to leave everybody with this little tidbit of advice. No matter where you fall in any job, you have to write reports.
Documentation.
Brush up on your soft skills. Be able to articulate and document everything. I struggle with it, I know. It is one of my weaknesses that I am well aware of. And I work on all the time. I used to do blogs. I'm still trying to write a book that I'm well behind. But soft skills mean more to companies than your technical skills ever will. Because it's easy to send somebody to a class or teach them how to fix a computer or break into a computer or how to use Metasploit, how to use a SIM. It is a hell of a lot harder to teach someone how to write a report or how to speak in front of executives. A hell of a lot harder. I'll be honest. I like to swear. You can ask anybody in my household. And when people talk about what do you substitute in front of your kids for fuck, nothing. I may put an adjective before it or after it, but I don't substitute words. So yes, I can flip the switch. I can be professional. But at the end of the day, if you're not able to do those things, I learned in high school how to do it. If you cannot, you might want to figure that out. Your soft skills mean more to a company than your technical skills ever will. If you want to hit this, you know, the C-level positions or the director positions, you better be damn be able to hold your tongue and be able to write and write professionally. Those are skills that are very, very hard to teach, but you need to learn. Now, before I go, Kiki, you mentioned something that I'm sure Rachel learned how to do, or at least I would hope she learned how to do before she got out of the Marines. And that is converting skills you knew from Taco Bell as far as compliance to how it relates to the field you want to get into. Not a lot of people talk about it. And this goes back to soft skills, resume writing, and everything else. Everything you do in life, every job you've ever held, whether you were a military veteran or worked at a coffee shop or owned some Taco Bells, whatever the case may be, can relate to the career field you want to get into. You just got to figure out how to word it. Compliance, training, leading, all these different things. They can all fall under the same umbrella. In the military, we're not taught that. We struggle to write resumes especially people that were in infantry or military police or artillery or anything like that. If you have always been on the civilian sector, if you worked in a coffee shop, a Best Buy, a Taco Bell, whatever the case may be, you struggle to relate your skill set to what you're trying to go for. But trust me, it translates. You just got to find the right verbiage. At Best Buy, you protected millions of dollars of equipment from being stolen. Trust me, that's a big thing. You just got to know how to word it. These things correlate. Don't ever
To
doubt
add on
yourself.
that, exactly what you're saying. My husband, he was in the he was a pharmacy tech for 15 years and switched over to cybersecurity, right? Writing his resume, trying to figure out like how does what I did apply to cybersecurity? And I'm like, HIPAA. I mean, did you not do inventory? Did you not, check the medicine before you handed it out? Did you not do all these checks and balances? So finding someone who is in the industry and then helping you translate those skills, because I mean, it's only through experience that you're going to be able to know how to get that cross reference, right? So without having a mentor, maybe somebody that you can, bounce ideas off of what you've done and how does it relate, definitely reach out to anyone in the infosec industry. I haven't met anybody who is anti-helping someone else, unless, I don't know, I'm sure they're out there, but I mean, it's the ones who probably don't respond. I don't know. But I mean, people get busy. I get it. But, for anyone who wants to help someone else out, they're going to respond in due time when time allows, to help one another. It's definitely, I haven't seen too many people just shut other people out and not help lift or encourage them to pursue the cybersecurity industry.
Yeah, definitely. I've met so many people willing to help. I'll be honest, I had to change jobs last year, posted on YouTube or on Twitter. Within minutes, I had InfoSec Sherpa, Davin Jackson, Ty Wilson, Alyssa Miller. God, the list goes on of people that are like, all right, who do you need to reach out to? Now, mind you, I had connections of my own too that I already reached out to, but it was nice to see that, like, hey, if you need something, give me a resume. I'll help you out. I'll send it to whoever needs to be sent to. And you see that a lot within this community. So I am very grateful for the community, because when we're struggling, when we're down, we always lift each other up. Now, again, Rachel, you said it, it's not everybody, but we do strive, and the people I follow strive to always do that. We really do. So, saying that, I am well over time. It is 11:22, and my time anyways. Haran, it's your morning. All right, so we don't want to hear it from Haran. It's his morning. He ain't got to go to bed. He just woke up a few hours ago. But I love you, Haran. I love you. I love what you're trying to do. But saying that, look, this is Security Happy Hour. I'm Cyber Warrior. This is Cyber Warrior Studios. We got a lot of big things coming. If you haven't checked out the new CyberWarriorStudios.com, please do. A lot more changes coming. A lot more creators coming to my channel. So if you're not subscribed yet, you might want to do that. You might want to hit that bell down below, so that anytime I go live or any of my fellow creators go live, you'll be notified. If you're on Twitch, go ahead and follow me, because I beg of you, please. We're going to have more creators coming on Twitch too. Those that want to go live, we'll be using restreaming going on both channels. Why? I'm not partnering with anybody. I'm here for everybody. So I love you all. Down below is all the ways you can support Cyber Warrior. I got Patreon. I got Buy Me a Coffee. I got Cash App. You name it. If you want to support me, go ahead. If you don't, you don't. As long as you share, subscribe, whatever else. I'm just here for the community. Saying that, I love you all. I hope you have a fantastic weekend. And I will most definitely catch you all next time.